My daughter Linda looked me straight in the eye and said, "Dad, we need your house for the kids, not asked." Declared, like my 40 years of mortgage payments and home improvements were already signed over to her name. I'm Gary Foster, 67 years old, retired mechanical engineer. I've been living in this 4-bedroom colonial for 3 decades. Bought it when Linda was still in high school. Back then, the place needed work, original 1970s everything. Avocado green appliances and carpet that looked like it survived a flood. Over the years, I'd transformed every inch of it with my own hands. Linda stood there in my kitchen, morning sunlight streaming through the double-pane windows I'd installed myself 5 years ago. The old single panes had been drafty and inefficient. I'd spent 2 weekends measuring, ordering custom frames, and getting them perfectly level. Now they provided crystal-clear views of the backyard where my workshop sat, a detached 2-car garage I'd converted into every engineer's dream workspace. She had that look she gets when she thinks she's being reasonable, jaw set, arms crossed, standing next to the granite island I'd installed when my wife Sarah was battling cancer. Sarah had wanted a bigger workspace for her cooking, something beautiful to focus on during chemo. I'd torn out the old laminate countertops, learned about stone cutting, and spent weeks getting every edge perfect. The island had cost me $8,000 in 3 months of evenings, but Sarah's smile when she saw it was worth every hour. The kids need stability, more space, Linda continued, gesturing around like she was already measuring for new furniture. You don't use half these rooms anyway. It just makes sense. I looked at her carefully. In 67 years, I've learned that people show their true intentions in the quiet moments between words. And in that silence, I saw calculation planning, like I was already out of the picture. "This is my house, Linda," I said quietly. "Of course it is," she replied too quickly. "But we're family. Family." That word used to mean something different. Her husband Kevin followed her in from the living room, hands stuffed in his pockets, pretending he wasn't sizing up my hardwood floors. I'd refinished those floors myself after Sarah passed, stripped 40 years of wear down to bare oak, then applied 3 coats of polyurethane. The process had taken 2 weeks, but the result was showroom quality. Kevin's eyes moved across the crown molding I'd installed, hand-cut mitered corners that required a compound miter saw and the patience to measure twice, cut once. Every piece had to be perfect. "We noticed you've got that big master bedroom upstairs," Linda said, walking around my kitchen island and trailing her fingers along the granite edge. "The kids could each have their own room. We could convert your workshop area." She paused, and I saw her glance toward the window that faced my garage. "You could take the guest room downstairs. Easier for you anyway." Less stairs, less stairs. I still climb those stairs every night without holding the railing. Those stairs had custom maple handrails I'd turned on my lathe, each baluster individually shaped and sanded smooth. The guest room she mentioned was actually my home office, 112 x 10 feet with built-in shelving, where I kept my engineering manuals, home improvement reference books, and 4 decades of project documentation. "What exactly are you asking me to do?" I said. Kevin cleared his throat and stepped closer to my kitchen counter, where I keep my coffee station, a setup that includes a commercial-grade espresso machine I'd restored from a restaurant liquidation. "Just some paperwork. Transfer the house into our names for legal reasons. You'd still live here, obviously. Just paperwork." At 67, after 40 years in engineering, I know the difference between paperwork and power. I'd spent my career reading blueprints, construction contracts, and specification documents. Every line meant something, every clause had consequences. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I walked over to my coffee mug on the counter, the one that says "World's Best Grandpa" that little Melissa gave me last Christmas. It sat next to my tool catalog, still open to the page where I'd been pricing a new pneumatic nailer for my workshop. I took a slow sip and looked at them both. Through the window, I could see my workshop clearly. The building itself was nothing special from the outside standard 2-car garage construction with white vinyl siding, but inside I'd created something remarkable. Pegboard walls held every tool imaginable, organized by function and frequency of use. My workbench ran 16 feet along the back wall, made from 2x10 lumber with a butcher block top I'd laminated myself. Above it, fluorescent shop lights provided perfect illumination for detailed work. The workshop contained 40 years of accumulated equipment. A table saw with a precision fence system, a drill press that could handle anything from 1/16-inch pilot holes to 2-inch paddle bits, a compound miter saw for trim work, and my pride and joy, a metal lathe I'd bought used from a machine shop and completely rebuilt. Every bearing, every gear, every calibration had been restored to factory specifications. "We're only thinking about the future," Kevin added, interrupting my thoughts. The future, interesting how their future never seemed to include asking my opinion. Linda stepped closer. "Dad, you're not getting any younger." There it was. Not concern, not love, strategy. I could see it all now. My workshop turned into a playroom, my carefully organized tool collection sold off at a garage sale because they were dangerous for the kids, my study converted to make room for their oversized sectional sofa. They weren't planning around me, they were planning past me. The garage that housed my workshop had been my sanctuary since Sarah died 4 years ago. After the funeral, when the house felt too quiet, I'd spend entire days out there, working on projects that kept my hands busy and my mind focused. I'd built custom storage cabinets with sliding drawers for my socket sets, metric and standard, organized by size. The smallest 1/4 inch sockets sat in foam-lined compartments, while the larger 3/4 inch pieces had their own dedicated slots. My air compressor, a 60-gallon unit I'd bought new in 1995, still ran like a Swiss watch. I'd rebuilt the motor twice and replaced every seal, but the tank was solid steel with no rust. Connected to it, I had air lines running to every workstation, impact wrenches, pneumatic sanders, a spray gun for finish work, and my favorite tool, a palm nailer that could drive 16 penny nails faster than any hammer. "I'll think about it," I said. Linda's smile tightened. "We can't wait too long. The housing market is good right now." That sentence told me everything. When someone says you can't wait, what they mean is they've already decided. They stayed for lunch. I grilled cheese sandwiches on the gas range I'd installed when I remodeled the kitchen, a 6-burner Wolf range with a professional griddle that cost more than my first car. Kevin complimented the food too loudly while Linda talked about school districts and property taxes like I'd already signed the papers. The kids, Melissa and Timmy, ran through my house without asking, jumping on the leather sofa I'd bought to replace Sarah's old fabric one, leaving fingerprints on the oak coffee table I'd built from lumber salvaged from a barn demolition. After they left, I walked through every room slowly. I touched the banister I'd sanded and stained by hand, 3 coats of Danish oil rubbed to a satin finish that highlighted the natural grain. The built-in bookshelf in the den had adjustable shelves made from 3 4-inch plywood with oak veneer edges. Every joint was dadoed and glued, strong enough to hold my collection of engineering manuals and technical references that weighed 200 pounds total. In the master bedroom, I'd installed a ceiling fan with a 52-inch wingspan, perfectly balanced to run silent even on high speed. The bedroom had walk-in closets with custom organizer systems, shelving for folded clothes, hanging rods at 2 heights, and shoe racks that could hold 40 pairs. Sarah had designed the layout, and I'd built it exactly to her specifications. Standing in my workshop that night, surrounded by 40 years of carefully organized tools, I felt something settle in my mind, not panic, not fear, clarity. The workshop walls held my life's work in organized precision. Socket wrenches hung on magnetic strips above the main workbench. Screwdrivers filled a rotating carousel Phillips head, flat blade, Torx, and specialty bits for electronics. My measuring tools occupied a dedicated drawer with foam cutouts, calipers accurate to thousandths of an inch, micrometers for precision measurement, steel rules from 6 inches to 4 feet. Power tools lined custom-built shelving along the east wall. My circular saw, a 15 to Makita that could cut 2x12 lumber in a single pass. The reciprocating saw that had demolished half the walls in this house during renovations. A router table I'd built from plans in Popular Mechanics with a fence system that allowed cuts accurate to 1/32 of an inch. Above my workbench, a pegboard system held specialty tools most homeowners never owned. Pipe wrenches from 8 inches to 24 inches for plumbing work. Wire strippers and electrical testers for running new circuits. Masonry bits for drilling into concrete when I'd added the workshop's electrical service, a 100-amp sub-panel that could handle multiple tools running simultaneously. If my daughter thought I was some confused old man ready to hand over the keys, she was about to find out how wrong she was. The next morning, I was up at 6 a.m. as usual. Old habits from my engineering days, early start, coffee strong enough to wake the dead from beans I ground fresh each morning, and a clear head for problem solving. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop, something I'd been putting off for months. Time to research elder law attorneys. My home office occupied the front corner of the house, 12 x 10 feet, with built-in desk and file cabinets I'd constructed from birch plywood. The desk surface was solid maple butcher block, 2 inches thick and heavy enough that it didn't move when I typed. Above it, floating shelves held my engineering references, structural steel handbooks, electrical codes, plumbing guides, and building standards that I'd accumulated over 4 decades in the field. The filing system contained documentation for every project I'd ever completed on this house. Electrical permits for the workshop upgrade. Plumbing permits for the master bathroom renovation. Building permits for the deck addition, 1670 20 feet of pressure-treated lumber with composite decking that would last 30 years. Each file folder was labeled and chronologically organized because good engineers document everything. Linda showed up around noon without calling first. Bad sign. She walked in carrying a tape measure, not a cheap 12-footer, but a 25-foot Stanley Fatmax that cost $30 professional grade. She'd come prepared. Just getting some rough measurements, she said, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Kevin followed behind her with his phone, taking pictures of my living room, my hallway, even peering into my workshop through the window. They moved through my house like appraisers marking territory for development. Nice setup you've got here, Kevin said, examining my drill press through the workshop window. The machine was a 1985 Delta model, cast iron construction that weighed 400 pounds. I'd bought it used from a machine shop that was closing, spent 2 weeks stripping old paint and rebuilding the motor. Now it ran smoother than the day it left the factory. Must be worth some money. The tools stay with me, I said firmly. He laughed. Of course, we're just curious about the space. Space. My workshop was 224 feet of organized precision. The concrete floor had epoxy coating I'd applied myself 3 layers with anti-slip additive that created a surface you could eat off. Overhead, I'd installed 8 fluorescent fixtures wired to separate switches, allowing me to light specific work areas without illuminating the entire space. The electrical system ran on 220-volt service with outlets positioned every 6 feet around the perimeter. Linda opened my hall closet without asking, peered into my study where tax returns and insurance documents filled fireproof filing cabinets, even tried the door to my home office. Lucky for me, I always keep that door locked when I leave the house. Inside that room sat my most sensitive documentation, property deeds, investment statements, and a folder labeled estate planning that contained my will and power of attorney forms. "Why is this room locked, Dad?" she asked. "Because I locked it," I replied evenly. She gave Kevin a look the kind married couples share when they think someone's being difficult. I recognized that look because Sarah and I used to exchange similar glances when dealing with difficult contractors who tried to cut corners on my home projects. Around 3 p.m., they finally left, but not before Linda mentioned that they'd found a family-friendly real estate agent who specialized in transitions. Transitions. Like my life was already concluded that evening, I called the first attorney on my list, Richard Miller, estate planning specialist. His office was located in a professional building 15 minutes away, ground floor with handicapped accessibility, though I didn't need it yet. His secretary scheduled me for Thursday at 10 a.m. I didn't tell Linda on Wednesday. Linda came by again. This time she brought papers. Just some preliminary documents, she said, spreading them across my kitchen table, the solid oak table I'd built from lumber I'd personally selected at a sawmill outside town. The tabletop was 2 inches thick, joined with traditional mortise and tenon joints that would last 200 years. Nothing binding, just so we can start the process. I read every line using the same methodical approach I'd applied to engineering specifications for 40 years. Property transfer agreement. Conditional residency clause allowing me to remain in the house subject to ongoing evaluation of capacity to maintain the premises. Financial oversight provisions giving them authority to manage complex financial decisions on my behalf. They'd already drawn up papers to take my house and control my money. The documents were professionally prepared, printed on legal letterhead with signature lines highlighted in yellow for easy identification. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment idea. This was planned. "I need to review this with my attorney," I said calmly. Linda's face tightened. "Attorney? Dad? We're family. You don't need lawyers. I always review contracts with lawyers. It's what engineers do. In my 40-year career, I'd overseen construction projects worth millions of dollars. Every contract, every change order, every material specification crossed my desk for review. I'd learned early that good engineers never sign anything without understanding every clause, every condition, every potential consequence." Kevin leaned forward across my handcrafted table. "This isn't a contract, it's family planning. Any document that transfers property ownership is a contract," I replied, "and I don't sign contracts without legal review." They left unhappy that night. After their taillights disappeared down the street, I walked back to my workshop and turned on all the lights. Under full illumination, the space looked like something from a magazine. Every tool in its place, work surfaces clean, project materials organized in labeled bins. My current project sat half-finished on the main workbench, a jewelry box I was building for Melissa's 9th birthday next month. The wood was figured maple with walnut inlay, joints cut with precision that required specialized router bits and patience. The box would have felt lined compartments, hidden hinges, and a lock mechanism I'd machined on my lathe. It represented 40 hours of work, maybe 50 when finished. Thursday came. Richard Miller's office was in a quiet strip mall between a tax preparation service and a dental practice. The building was typical professional construction, beige brick, tinted windows, accessible parking. His office occupied suite 203, second floor via elevator or stairs. Miller himself was younger than I expected, maybe 45, but he listened carefully while I explained everything. His office was modest, law books on built-in shelves, a desk that had seen better decades, family photos that looked genuinely personal rather than stock photography. "Mr. Foster," he said when I finished, "you're not confused. You're being maneuvered." That's what I thought. He outlined my options with the systematic approach I appreciated from good engineers. Revocable trusts that would protect assets while allowing me to retain control. Power of attorney restrictions that prevented unauthorized decisions. Protective filings that would create legal barriers to future manipulation. And then he mentioned something else. "You could sell," he said calmly. "On your terms before any legal complications arise, sell. Not to them, but to someone else entirely." The idea hit me like finding the solution to a complex engineering problem. Sudden, obvious, and completely effective. "If you sell before they can file any incapacity claims," he continued, "there's nothing left to contest. The asset disappears. No house, no leverage, no basis for legal action. Remove the game board entirely. Eliminate the target." Classic engineering approach: when you can't solve the problem, eliminate the conditions that create the problem. Would that look suspicious, I asked? Only to people who expected to control the outcome. I left his office with a folder full of options and a decision forming in my mind. I wasn't going to wait for them to prove I was incompetent. I was going to prove I was decisive. That weekend, Linda called 3 times. Each conversation was the same gentle pressure about the paperwork. Mentions of getting things settled, reminders that I was getting older and needed to think about the future. The future, according to Linda, involved signing away everything I'd worked 40 years to build. On Monday, I called Richard back. "I want to explore the sale option," I said. "I know a discreet real estate agent. No public listing, qualified buyers only. She specializes in private sales for clients who need quick, clean transactions. How fast? 30 days, maybe less if we find the right buyer. Do it." The agent, Patricia Williams, arrived Tuesday afternoon driving a modest Honda that didn't scream real estate professional. She was maybe 60, gray-haired, wearing practical shoes that could handle walking through properties all day. I liked her immediately. She walked through my house with genuine appreciation, not the calculating assessment I'd seen from Linda and Kevin. In the kitchen, she admired the granite island and custom cabinetry. Beautiful work. "Did you do this yourself?" "Every bit of it." In my workshop, she spent 15 minutes examining my tool collection and organization system. My late husband was a machinist. He would have loved this setup. She understood the value of precision equipment, the years invested in accumulating specialized tools, the satisfaction of having exactly the right instrument for every job. By Wednesday, I had a buyer, cash offer, quick close, no contingencies. A couple in their early 40s, both engineers who appreciated good craftsmanship. They loved my workshop, respected my improvements, and didn't try to lowball me because they thought I was desperate. The offer was $380,000 minus, exactly what I'd hoped for. Linda showed up Thursday evening with Kevin and the kids. They seemed more aggressive this time, less patient. The pressure was building. "Dad, we need to finalize the paperwork," Linda said, pulling out the same transfer documents from the week before. "I told you I was reviewing with my attorney. We can't wait much longer," Kevin said, his voice carrying an edge I hadn't heard before. "Our situation is getting urgent." Urgent, there was the real reason. They needed money fast, and my house represented $380,000 in instant equity they could borrow against. "What situation?" I asked. Linda hesitated. "We're having some financial pressures. Credit cards, the mortgage on our place. Things are tight. How much do you owe?" "That's not the point," Kevin snapped. "The point is this house is too much for you to handle." I looked around my perfectly maintained home. Fresh paint on walls I'd repaired and textured myself. Hardwood floors that gleamed under LED lighting I'd installed throughout the house. Crown molding with joints so tight you couldn't slip a business card into the seams. Everything in perfect condition because I maintained it like the precision equipment in my workshop. Seems like I'm handling it fine. "You're being stubborn," Linda said, her voice rising. "We're trying to help you by taking my house, by taking care of family business." Family business? Like I was already dead and they were settling my estate. That's when I made my decision, not out of anger, but out of clarity. If they wanted to treat me like I was incompetent, I'd show them what competent looked like. "I'm not signing anything," I said quietly. Kevin's face darkened. "Then we'll have to explore other options. Such as, if a doctor determines you're not capable of managing your affairs, the court can intervene. Guardianship proceedings, asset protection for your own good." There it was, the threat laid out plain. The next morning, I signed the sale contract. Richard handled everything: inspections, title work, financing verification. The buyers were pre-approved and motivated. We scheduled closing for the following Thursday, exactly 1 week away. I didn't tell Linda about the sale. I didn't argue with her anymore. I became agreeable. When she called that weekend asking if I'd reconsidered the papers, I softened my voice. I've been thinking about what you said. I told her, really. Maybe we should look at options. Silence. Then relief in her voice. That's all I wanted, Dad. Just openness. Openness. Interesting word for someone planning to take everything I owned. On Monday, they came over with their real estate agent, a woman in a beige Camry who talked about market conditions and family transitions like she'd handled similar situations before. She walked through my house taking notes, photographing rooms, measuring square footage like she was preparing a listing. Your daughter mentioned you were considering options, she said. I wasn't considering anything, I replied. I didn't ask for an evaluation. Linda jumped in. Dad, we just want to know what we're working with. The agent smiled professionally. Just a preliminary assessment. No obligation. I let them walk through my house, let them take notes, let them think they were making progress. All the while, my sale was moving through the system like a freight train they couldn't see coming. On Thursday, I closed. Signed the papers in Richard's office conference room at 9 a.m. The buyers were there, Mark and Jennifer, both mechanical engineers who understood the value of quality workmanship. We shook hands over a transaction that transferred 30 years of my life's work to people who would appreciate it. By noon, I had a cashier's check for $380,000 and no house. Linda called that evening. Dad, we've been thinking maybe we should expedite the paperwork. What paperwork? The transfer documents. Kevin found a lawyer who can help us file everything quickly, before I could change my mind. That won't be necessary, I said calmly. Why not? Because I sold the house this morning? The silence that followed wasn't surprise, it was shock. You did what? It's no longer my property, nothing to transfer. You can't just sell our house. Our house? There it was my house, I said quietly, and it's sold. I hung up before she could respond. The next day, I drove to Arizona. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones you need to protect yourself from the most. Blood doesn't give anyone the right to steal your dignity or your assets. When family starts treating you like you're already dead, it's time to show them how alive and capable you really are. Decisive action beats empty arguments every time.